Time now to hear the voters' voices. And with us today, we're going to start on the far left here, and we'll start on the bottom today. We're going to go with Orna, and welcome. She's from New Jersey and says she is a Republican. And I know your top issues are the economy, taxes, and a free market, among other things today. In fact, we'll talk about that march as well. Kimberly is with us as well. Philadelphia, a progressive, a Democrat, she says. And the economy is important to you, too. I mean, these are things that bring everybody together, democracy and gun violence. And then Tim is here from New York. He is a Republican and actually one of the youngest among us today, I would say, 20 years old. So this will be your first presidential time to vote, because you would have been 16 last time.
Yes, this is my first time voting in a presidential election. I voted in local elections before, but this is the big one.
Yeah, okay. And economy still first on your list. The border, obviously, something that's important to you as well. And then David in the back row, hello. And feel free to wave, by the way. And it can be to the audience or to the ambassador. Also from New Jersey, Republican, yes. Economy #1, the border, education. And Stephanie in the middle there in the back row, 4 children under the age of 8. So the economy is important to you, I would imagine, but Israel, terrorism, and preventing World War III are #1 on your list. And Alexandria, we welcome you as well. Also from New York, an independent, but you say you're right-leaning, the economy first on your list as well. David, I'm going to start with you. What question would you like to ask the ambassador with regard to what we're facing right now in the world? Israel-Hamas war, the anti-Semitism, it's your pick.
Yes, the question I would have for you is, how do we keep up our support for Israel and balance the calls for the humanitarian crisis in Gaza? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, it's interesting because, everybody sees, and I've seen this play out before, everybody supports Israel when she's hit. But then they all change their tune when she hits back. If this had happened to America, if we had lost 1,200 people, if we had seen the brutality, we would be just as upset as Israel is. But this should be as personal for America as it is for Israel. 33 Americans were murdered. They have American hostages right now. So we should be up at arms. The issue has been, what do we do with Gaza? How do we save people who aren't Hamas and who don't mean harm? And how do we make sure we eliminate Hamas in the same aspect? You have to separate civilians from terrorists. That's what civilized countries do. That's what America does. That's what Israel does. That's what we should do. We're not Hamas. We're not Russia. What makes this really difficult is I've been in those tunnels. They're very sophisticated. They can hold mountains of equipment, ammunition, and I promise you that's probably where the hostages are. But it is like a city underneath a city. They are all intertwined, and most of those where they have their major hubs are under hospitals, under schools, under playgrounds. And that's the problem, is this is surgical. What I know is Israel values life. Hamas does not. And so the best thing we can do for the Palestinians there in Gaza, for Gazans, is to get rid of Hamas, because they don't need to live under this terrorist rule either.
Stephanie, I'm going to come to you. Your thoughts on the anti-Semitism. First of all, I'm eager to hear from you, and then your question for the ambassador.
Yeah, I think there's so much to say about the anti-Semitism that we're seeing around the world right now. In every other war that happens not on American soil, you don't see an uprising of hateful, violent, incendiary voices against the perpetrators of the war or the victims of the war. And in this instance, it's just an excuse and a catalyst for so many people to show their true hate, and there are no consequences for that. And we're seeing it in our streets, on our college campuses, our schools, as young as pre-K, teachers indoctrinating students and parents on this hate. We're seeing it in offices, and it's trending. It's trending on social media. It's in our streets. It's private school kids in New York City are drawing swastikas on buildings. It's everywhere. And I think that leads to one of my questions, which is there a limit, in your opinion, to free speech? We all know you can't go into an airport and shout bomb, and yet right now you can chant on college campuses to kill all the Jews, or wave a poster that says keep our streets clean, which is exactly Nazi propaganda. What are the limits when it threatens the safety of a group of people or incites violence against them?
I mean, we're blessed because we have free speech. We never want that to go away. But the difference is when you are pushing violence, when you're pushing genocide. I mean, that's what this is. When you support Hamas, you're basically saying that you support that Israel shouldn't exist, that you support that the Jewish people shouldn't exist. And so what I have said is if you look on these college campuses and you see what's happening, if that were the KKK doing that, every college president would be up at arms. What we need to remind Americans is anti-Semitism is no different than racism. They are both evil, and we don't want to have that happen. But let's go to the core of this. Anti-Semitism was always bubbling underneath the surface. But now we're seeing this massive exaggeration of it. But no one's talking about why. The truth is, if you look at social media, the misinformation and the dramatic sides of social media are instigating this. Why? Because it's being pushed by Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. It is why when I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots. And then you're going to get some civility when people know their name is next to what they say.
Accountability.
And they know their pastor and their family members going to see it. It's going to help our kids, and it's going to help our country.
I want on this topic for us to take a look at the anti-Semitism hearing that's going on. Let's watch this.
Students are being assaulted, students are being threatened, there's vandalism, there's harassment of all sorts, not just on a few hotspot campuses, but all over this country.
Universities have allowed Jew hatred to run rampant. I sit in a crowded dining hall and I ask myself, how many people in this room want me dead?
We never imagined, not 5 years ago, not 1 year ago, that we would be sitting here in this committee room because of the kind of vile and terrible anti-Semitism which is being directed at us on campuses.
That was just this morning. It's ongoing today, and I just wanted to show everybody that this topic is happening on Capitol Hill. The ambassador has said what she would do. I do want to come to you, Kimberly, on this issue, because you have a question that has to do with military spending for the ambassador.
Yeah, I think I continue to be concerned with how we're taking some, in my view, some problematic positions about which humanitarian crises we're going to attend to and how we're going to hold the balance of that, particularly when I think about how many people in this country are also struggling under the crippling weight of poverty. And so even when I think about the state of the economy, I think a lot about how many people are really just being destroyed. City of Philadelphia, 25% of people live under $13,000 a year. When I think about how are we deciding which are going to be our fights and which people we're going to stand with, how and why are we choosing who we decide to align with? And to this, going back to this question of what's happening in this particular region of the world, which lives matter in your view, and how do we hold all of human life in its totality in the balance?
That's a great question, and I'll tell you, first of all, when you hear a lot of people talk about in these pro-Hamas rallies, the occupation. What about the occupation and the fact that this is happening? There's not a single Israeli in Gaza. There's not a single Jewish person in Gaza. Yeah, is there occupation? Absolutely. Hamas is the one that is doing the occupation. They're the ones putting women and children out there to have killed before they get killed. It's a brutal situation. And if we care about them, and I have said this for a long time, we want them to have a better life, we have to eliminate Hamas because they're putting them in danger. And then the second thing you brought up is how do we take care of Americans here? It's a very good point because it's how do we go towards spending and how do we make sure we're taking care of Americans? I'll tell you, when I was at the United Nations and they did the vote that condemned America for moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, I was so upset I went to my staff and I said, I want you to get a book. I want you to list all 193 countries. I want the second column to be the percentage of times they voted with the U.S. and against the U.S. And I want the third column to be how much foreign aid we give them. And my point was not that I wanted to go and give foreign aid based on a percentage vote, but last year, Congress gave $50 billion in foreign aid. Do you know who they gave it to? Iraq, that harbors terrorists, that tried to kill our soldiers. Zimbabwe, the most anti-American African country there is. Belarus, who's holding hands with Russia as they invade Ukraine. We gave money to Cuba, who's putting a spy center with China off our shores. And the one that makes me sick to my stomach, we gave money to China. When I am president, we will no longer give money to countries that hate America. We'll focus on making sure we're strategic in what we do and that we're always thoughtful in helping those countries that really want to partner with us and share our values.
Okay, I want to get to Tim now. And Tim, I know your question specifically is about small businesses. I want to shift topic here a little bit and see if you have something you'd like to ask about the border.
Yes, Ambassador Haley. My question is, what can we do to secure the southern border? We see, like in New York City, there are just so many migrants coming in, and we don't know where to house them. The mayor and governor, both Democrats, have said that we're in a crisis. So what can we do to ensure that immigrants can come here legally, start families, and fulfill the American dream, but also not burden taxpayers and keep people safe?
It's a great question. So if you look, we've had 1,000 people that we know of come from Iran, Lebanon, and Yemen. That doesn't count Afghanistan. It only takes one. It only takes one for us to have a 9/11 moment. We have to secure the border. It is the #1 national security threat that affects us today. So the way we do that is, first of all, you defund sanctuary cities. When you defund sanctuary cities, then they're not going to go, and we're not going to have all of this that's happening around the country. Secondly, let's put 25,000 Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. Let's go back to the Remain in Mexico policy so that everybody processes in Mexico and they never get here in the first place. And instead of catch and release, let's go to catch and deport. We have to stop where that's coming from. America right now is acting like it's September 10th. We better get our act together and remember what it felt like on September 12th, because it only takes one for us to have a terrorist moment.
All right, another shift in topic here. Alexandria, I'm going to come to you. What is it that you think is so critically important right now about education, the system? You say you want to know about pathways to that. Ask your question.
Absolutely. As a college student and the former trustee on the board of the largest public institution in the country, education is at the heart and soul of politics for me. And I'm really interested in how you think we can help revitalize our education system and make sure to strengthen workforce development pathways, as I know a lot of students are very concerned about once they graduate, what they're going to do afterwards, the rising cost of living, and everything that has to do with the economy. So I would love to hear your opinion on that.
You know, that's at the heart of our future, is education. And right now, I'll tell you, 29% of 8th graders in our country are not proficient in reading. 26% of 8th graders in our country are not proficient in math. If we don't do something about this, we're going to be in a world of hurt 10 years from now. Any child that can't read by the 3rd grade is 4 times less likely to graduate high school. In South Carolina, what we did is we started holding kids back. We brought in their parents. We did reading remediation programs, and we set them up for success. We've got to do that all over this country. No parent should ever wonder what's being said or taught to their child in the classroom. We need complete transparency in the classroom. And as parents, we have one job to get our kids right. Every parent deserves to be able to pick the school for their child. I know every child deserves a good education, regardless of where they're born and raised. No child should be mandated based on a zip code. And then let's start focusing on building things in America, but let's go and make sure that we have vocational classes back in our high schools. Let's teach our kids how to build the things that we want to make so that we're looking at the future. I had apprenticeships all over South Carolina. We taught our kids how to build the things we were making. We need to focus on that. And to me, we've got to modernize our education system for the jobs of the future. It's not the jobs we've had in the past. We need to get our kids ready on manufacturing, on artificial intelligence, on cyber, on space. But you can only do that if you start with them reading in elementary school, start training them in high school on skills, and make sure our technical colleges are ready to put them in jobs immediately.
So, Ambassador, that last part is really critical, because as we go into artificial intelligence and quantum computing and all of that, the greatest concern is that so many jobs are going to go away, and what are our young people going to step into? What will their choices be? So preparing for that is going to be really critical. I don't think we turn into a land of robots, but no, of course I don't think that. I have teenage daughters. I want them to rule the robots. But at the same time, what are those jobs going to look like? And what you're talking about is critical.
And you know how you do that, though, is when I came in as governor of South Carolina, we had 11% unemployment. South Carolina put all their eggs in the textile basket. And when the textiles went overseas, so did our jobs. Now we build planes, cars, and tires. We made sure our South Carolinians got re-skilled for the jobs that we brought in so that they were ready. We need to make sure that we look what are the needs of the jobs, and let's train them for it.
Orna, I want to come to you and have you ask your question to the ambassador.
So going back to higher education, I think you just touched some of it, but it seems like in the past maybe decade or so, our higher education institutions, once very prestigious, became a place of mostly political activism and intolerance. How do you think a president could bring back the American academia to be a place of research, of science, of education, and critical thinking?
You know, we need to look at output. Who are we producing out of our schools, and are they getting jobs? You have to make that connection, because a student doesn't need to run up all this debt and then be unemployed at the end of it. So colleges owe it to our students to make sure they're connecting them and actually doing the career services to get them a job too. They don't get to just educate, they've got to connect it. The second thing is there is too much political activism in our college campuses. You listen to all the kids, you know, I've seen my son where they have to write papers of things they don't believe in just to get an A. Colleges are supposed to teach kids how to think, not what to think. We have to step back and start cleaning that out and preparing it based on skills, not on ideology. That's the problem, is professors started teaching ideology. That's actually not what you're supposed to be teaching. They're supposed to be teaching them skill paths so that they can get a job in the future.
Real quickly, and it has to be. Kimberly, your question, I'll ask it for you. Should the federal wage be higher than $7.25? Should it be raised significantly? Your focus was on poverty, so I just want to toss that in.
You know, if we're going to focus on poverty, instead of focusing on wages, let's focus on training. So in South Carolina, we had thousands of people out of work. And what I did was I took those people and I went to our businesses and I said, if you will take this person and train them, I will pay for them for X number of weeks. And at the end, you decide if you want to hire them or not. We moved 35,000 people from welfare to work because a lot of people don't know where to get the training, and a lot of businesses don't know how to find people. The second thing is we went into our prison systems, and I wanted to know what happened to them when they went in, what happened when they were there, and what happened when they got out. And we reformed it. We put in computer classes. We put in resume training. We taught them financial planning. We taught them family skills. We gave them faith-based training if they wanted it, but we put equipment behind the fence. Now in South Carolina, when someone leaves the fence, they have a job to go to the next day. We have the lowest recidivism rate in the country. So rather than focus on wages, what I want to focus is that let's train them so they can really, we need to lift up everybody, not just a select few. So let's get them the training and connect them to the good jobs they can get. When you get a person a job, you take care of a family. We've got a lot of families to take care of, but we've got to do our part to make sure we get them to that place.
And you are doing your part. You're representing the voters across America with your wide questions and all of your different political views and all of that. We had some independents, some leaning this way and leaning that way. I just want to say thank you so very much for the questions that you've asked today and for being with me in studio today. And Ambassador Haley, what a pleasure to watch this process. I'm just a voyeur in this. You're meeting the voters, so thank you for being here.
Thank you. We have a country to save, and with them, we'll get it done.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.